I am Kesten Rono, and you are here for day 14 of our exploration in A Course in Miracles. Let's take a deep breath in together. Exhale. Deep breath in. Release. One more. Big breath. Enjoying oxygen. And hold. One more sip of air. One more breath of air. Holding. And exhale. Letting all control go. Thank you for being here. Yesterday felt like a big one. Miracles are both beginnings and endings. They alter the temporal order, affirmations of rebirth, which appear to go backwards but really go forwards. They undo the past in the present and thus release the future. Here we are in the present, attempting to untangle the past from clouding our present, from blocking our thoughts. So, dear Creator, we say thank you so much for allowing us to recognize this opportunity for purification from the upsets we've been harboring and how we've allowed them or their inverses, the shadows, to obfuscate some other more natural, involuntary, subconscious awareness, some true thought. Creator, we believe this is your voice. And if this concept is new for us, please allow us to be new to this idea as we try it on. We are grateful for recognizing our existence and our opportunity to choose how we feel, realizing that we've been in some kind of wrestle, some kind of combat with you. But we do not want to be. We recognize that we are our egos most of the time, that we cling to meaning in all of the ways that we've come to find it, each of us having our own experiences and having very emotional and energetic connections to our past that we believe define us. And this is a very normal, standard way of seeing the world, regardless of what those experiences are or what we've come to believe. I think each of us can recognize that we are shaping our present based off of our past. And this book is inviting us to feel some deeper presence by releasing our conscious control over this flow of miracles, even though we did not know we were trying to harness it. That our ego, fearful, and we, fearful, certainly of something, if not the unknown, have desperately been trying to cling to the life as we know it, believing that we will not exist if we cannot get ourselves to hold on to these ideas of the past. And we accept that as we release these, we do release our ego. We do release our emotional grip of the past. And in letting go, we are not lost. We find some other idea of presence, and we are willing to be curious about what that is. So, prayer, hear. Creator, please hear our prayer. We submit to the process of miracles, and we allow our prayer to connect us with you, even if we do not understand. We allow ourselves to set aside all of the meaning that we believe we felt we need to have, and sit in nothingness as best as we've come to understand it thus far in this practice. That in this nothingness, there must be some other truth, that around us in life we see so much excitement, and that fear, in addition to happiness and a variety of other emotions, but fear and what it creates is sowing division. And we, being human, can easily be wrapped up in any idea that is begging for a host. And because we recognize this idea that everything that exists is attempting to exist, we can accept that we exist. And we continue to exist even as we relax the ideas that we believe are shaping our existence. But this foundation has actually been laying the way for our prison walls, blocking our sight into whatever love is, the beginning and end of miracles. And we're curious about the manifestation of miracles, setting aside whatever a miracle is, but accepting that a miracle and its recognition, where it comes from and what it shows, brings us closer to life and offers us a perspective that we believe would violate the principles of physics and time and space, where we find ourselves, where our pain is stretched, where it takes effort to accomplish anything that we believe is worth accomplishing. Action is exciting. Participating in time and space is a gift. And we would like to bring to our presence and our actions and our decisions and our choices and our feelings, we would like to bring in the clarity that this book is suggesting, the truth that this book is suggesting, the abundance of participating in some cyclical event, beginnings and endings at the same time, swimming in some arc of love and letting go our conscious control, believing that we do not need to be so deterministic and so planning and in such a hurry and so afraid. Thank you for our existence. Thank you for our consciousness. And thank you for whatever combination it is that allows us to be conscious and exist and to relax that conscious control and discover that unlike our egos, whatever it is that we are and whatever we have access to continues to exist, that we are existence itself. May we try on the idea that our consciousness is not in our body or in our ideas or in the items around us or in our upsets, that we are in consciousness. Thank you, thank you, thank you for life and allowing us to experience. And may we sink closer to understanding of your voice and your direction that guides us towards love and allows us the simple opportunity of tipping the scales of our perspective and the overall consciousness of this planet. The simple idea that we have seen life one way and we wish to be in harmony with whatever love is and its gifts without seeking to extract and yet paradoxically receiving the blessing that as we give more love and come to know it more by releasing our hold on whatever we think had to be, that we receive more love. Thank you for allowing us to exist in love. And thank you for however you choose to communicate back with us and however we may see more clearly. Aho, here we are. Together for day 14, reviewing these principles. What an exciting time. I'm so pleased to be here. Thank you for praying with me. Thank you for breathing with me. Principle 14 suggests that miracles bear witness to truth. Miracles bear witness to truth. They are convincing because they arise from conviction. Without conviction, they deteriorate into magic, which is mindless and therefore destructive, or rather, the uncreative use of mind. Wow. When I was younger, I was a less than mediocre magician. But the idea of it, the spectacle of it, was very exciting. And I'm grateful for my family and friends that either pretended to or possibly were even wowed occasionally, allowing me to play and be creative. But from my side of my homemade podium with its shelves where I would organize my tricks and all of the anxiety I would have about trying to deliver them, of course, not really mastering any of the sleight of hand. From my side, I knew it was all a trick. But when we watch a magician, we also know it's all a trick, but we still get wowed sometimes. And sometimes we cannot figure it out. As adults, we can reason that it's not real. As kids, we can be wowed. We are impressionable. And we still want to be awed. But we know magic in this sense of a magician is not real. If we go back in time and we were shown today one of our smartphones, I believe that would look like magic. Light emanating from someone's hand. Infinite knowledge, seemingly. All they do is consult their magic box. Sounds, videos, voices. But it too would be a spectacle. And it would be our awareness of a greater perspective that allows us to understand that while this is exciting, it is simple magic. And here today, we are saying that miracles are convincing, bearing witness to truth because they have conviction. They arise from conviction. We are absolutely sure. We are absolutely sure. And without this conviction, they become simple magic, mindless magic. The spectacle itself is the fun of magic, and I think we can be caught up in the spectacle of all things. Even today, a smartphone is amazing. We don't have to compare it to the past. And most of us, myself included, have been captured by these devices. And we've brought our consciousness into these devices and moved further and further and further from ourselves, outsourcing yet another part of us, this time our attention. We've done the same with our health. We've done the same with our education, our movement, our minds. And that's okay. A beauty of community and technology is building upon the ideas of our forefathers and the people around us. It's a gift to be able to have a collective of minds coming together, dreaming into the future and wondering. That's wonderful. And we should pursue these things. That's part of what it is like the visceral experience of being alive and creating. I know for myself, I lived very small, unable to really even see my successes and the creations that I was doing. And that's why I dare to be here now. Only 14 days in, 2 weeks, I'm told, attempting to create with you. Building conviction through the practice for the sake of the practice, accepting that understanding is something that naturally comes with time, and how or what we come to understand in time has never been inside of our control. But through this process of exploration of miracles, we believe we're getting something valuable. We're becoming closer to some kind of truth we've yet to know. And I can say for sure, in relaxing the grip that I've had on the ideas and items around me while they still exist, it seems there's becoming more space for me to discover myself. And I'm finding more and more the opportunity and the importance of taking my weight from my side of shame, worry, guilt, fear, and setting it over here on the curiosity of wonder into the unknown. And something magical is happening with time, that I'm becoming slightly more present, and I never even knew that that was a thing. Of course, I understood the idea of the power of now, even though I have not read that book. I've been carrying it around for a year, it seems. But there is some power of now. There's some idea of something going on, that we are present now, that we exist now, that whether we like it or not, now is our time. And we find ourselves in this space. And through these processes of release, these mental exercises, discovering some kind of incremental understanding by just relaxing into these practices. Somehow, presence is getting more meaning as promised by this text. Even if it's placebo, something is allowing me to feel fuller, and I'm discovering more and more love. And in this release into nothingness, this relaxation of grip on meaning, the unknown is moving from the future somehow into right now. Or paradoxically, we could say, we are now entering the unknown. That they are collapsing somehow into whatever presence is. And there's actually great peace and wonder and awe and beauty in the unknown. And perhaps now we are building our conviction. If we attempt to consciously control this flow of miracles, if we could even wrap our minds around the idea of them being both beginnings and endings, and what they do to temporal order and common physics, allowing us to receive love by giving it. If we can relax this control, we somehow steer clear of becoming mindless, and we step away from the allure of the spectacle alone. And the principles here have cautioned us that if we are still believing that we must have control and that somehow that control has ever worked, then we will be misguided and something will have gone wrong. We will have interrupted the flow of miracles themselves, where our ego takes over and we are driven by fear, even though we believe we have it all under control. And in this mindlessness, paradoxically, even though we are full of thoughts and they are charged, we are mindless. Our voice speaking over God's, whatever that feels like, whatever that sounds like. And miracles themselves become destructive. I think this is a natural idea. If they have some sort of flow to them and we keep blocking it, How much water can pound downstream against the dam we're creating before it's destroyed? The natural flow would suggest that we can only hold so long, that we require constant energy feeding into this ego, more and more and more fear. May it grow bigger, stronger. And we believe we are becoming bigger and stronger, but really our shell is blocking us from being able to feel and see. And the only result is the deeper that we dig, the more we barricade ourselves in, the greater the destruction will have to be for us to get out. So it seems. It also seems that we can just relax, but I do not believe that we come to find ourselves without going through what has been so charged for us in the past. Everything that we felt that we thought we could just move past, but has taken a hold of us and helped to build the structure of what we see around us, we will have to revisit. And if we are living in fear, believing that we will no longer exist, we are operating from the perspective of our ego alone. That does not want us to look at these things because it believes it will not exist, and that will be true. Because as we are able to feel what we have done or what has been done and recognize the source of these upsets, we have the opportunity to realize we may wish we feel a different way. And that in the end, no matter what has happened, we are here in our consciousness. And for every single one of us, no matter if we believe we are relatively more well off or less well off, no matter what may befall us in the future or what has happened in the past, if we want to know peace, we will have to forgive and choose life. And miracles mean life. It would appear then that the miracle is in our destruction. And we are here to allow everything that we have come to know to be destroyed out of love. It doesn't need to be explosive, even if we've built up a very, very, very strong wall. So here may we relax and realize that difficulty is in our mind. That in the end, all we will be doing is simply relaxing into a new perspective. And the beauty of this new perspective is that we believe that God's voice can guide us. There should be extreme peace in this idea that all of our confusion and all of our clamoring is simply resolved, that we are provided for. We have everything we need. We exist and cannot be destroyed because we are existence itself. What can be destroyed is our egoic hold on everything we've come to know. And that we may not know what to do next or what it will feel like, what this truth and love is in this temporal order, we need not worry because we will be directed. And all we need to do now is practice with specificity and conviction. Without conviction, miracles deteriorate into magic. We become mindless and we will be destroyed. This is the uncreative use of mind. I admit I don't know what the creative use of mind is yet, or how to articulate it. But I think we are at the very cusp of feeling its gravitational pull. So may we continue and appreciate the miracle of life, the gift of truth, the source of love. And as we become this, may we relax and realize that it took us some amount of time and some amount of experience to come here, to learn forgiveness. And so may we simply offer that forgiveness to everything we see around us, realizing that it too is in its own process, its own timing. And the only way to poison ourselves is to again return to some expectation of some outcome within some period of time. Instead, may we find conviction in the freedom from worry that we discover through this practice of accepting the miracle of love and life. All right, fantastic. Moving on to lesson 14. God did not create a meaningless world. Yesterday we were saying a meaningless world engenders fear. And the day before that, I am upset because I see a meaningless world. Well, if we are allowing ourselves to say our upsets are arising because what is around us is meaningless, and that in this meaninglessness we come to know fear through the perspective of our ego. Well, lesson 14 is suggesting that simply cannot be true. We're here to hear God's voice, and God did not create a meaningless world. God did not create a meaningless world. This would suggest that there is deep meaning here, and we've been misguided through our conscious control, even on accident, because of however we've come to see, and we have forgiveness for however we have come to see, because there is some beauty in truth and love. And if we are moving ourselves towards truth and love, and if miracles spring forth from love, and in nothingness we find the prerequisite for true sight, and we slowly quell our own voices, and God's voice speaks, then God's voice is living in some world on the other side of our recognition of our own meaninglessness, in a space where the source is love. And paradoxically, God did not create a meaningless world. Who would want to create something meaningless after all? The idea for today is, of course, the reason why a meaningless world is impossible. What God did not create does not exist. What God did not create does not exist, meaning everything that exists, God created. What God did not create does not exist. And everything that does exist exists as He created it. The world you see has nothing to do with reality. It is of your own making, and it does not exist. The exercises for today are to be practiced with eyes closed throughout. The mind-searching period should be short, a minute at most. Do not have more than 3 practice periods with today's idea unless you find them comfortable. If you do, it will be because you really understand what they are for. If we are finding comfort, we are finding understanding. But that is not the main goal here. Our goal, again, a reminder to ourselves, is to realize that we need not yet understand, that understanding is coming, and with understanding will be more comfort, so we find ourselves uncomfortable. We remember that we're here to take a step for the sake of the step, not for the expectation of a certain outcome. We are tying our own meaning, I suppose, into the action that we are taking with this practice, recognizing that its newness is okay. The idea for today is another step in learning to let go the thoughts which you have written on the world and see the Word of God in their place. The early steps in this exchange, which can truly be called salvation, can be quite difficult and even quite painful. Some of them will lead you directly into fear. You will not be left there. We will not be stranded in fear. I suppose all love is expressed maximally, and I would imagine when we are in a state of fear, that idea of fear is true for anyone who's experiencing it, regardless of what the source is or why. Perhaps there are degrees of fear. Maybe we can imagine I am more fearful from this thing than this thing in different contexts, but fear itself is fear. Surely we've all felt fear. And fear can often arise because we do not understand. And so we may seek control, create parameters and rules, confines to our understanding and experience, such that we believe we've blocked out any opportunity for fear. That feels like it would invite, well, discomfort with change. And if we're experiencing discomfort, we are not understanding. It's okay for us to change, and we need not be fearful. We've changed many times across our life, and we're still here. And we're questing, even deeper than before. It need not work out any particular way. No matter what we're doing in this world, we're experiencing something. And so our curiosity for more love, I would say, is a righteous quest. What would be so scary about moving from wherever we are with whatever fear we have, whatever preconceived notion of what the present must be and what is possible in this world, how energy is exchanged and how we may feel and what we may offer to other people and how we may be of benefit by simply offering love and truth. We may feel like we're walking directly into fear, but that would be our ego, afraid of its own destruction, not us, simply the pair of glasses we've put on, because we're here alone, it would seem. Each one of us has to find within us the love of life. But we are being reminded that we will not be stranded. We will not be left in fear. We will go far beyond it. Our direction is toward perfect safety and perfect peace. That's our goal. That's where we're headed. Anytime we find ourselves in the unknown, afraid, we just need to say, no, thank you. No, thank you. I've assigned this meaning. This is meaningless. My end goal and each step I am taking is on a direction toward perfect safety and perfect peace. Let's allow that idea to exist. If all things may exist in the unknown or we don't know what's in there, would it not be to our benefit to believe that perfect safety and perfect peace is possible? If we want to say that is illogical, that is unreasonable, and that is impossible, it sounds to me like we would be setting ourselves up for destruction. We would be living in fear. There are many names for different upsets, but the path of love and the path of fear are not the same. I like the idea of perfect safety and perfect peace. Wouldn't it be astonishing if we could find perfect love and perfect peace without the energy requirement of control and all the ways that it manifests around us and all of the destruction that it causes, just so that we can think we're safe and our little walled off garden appears peaceful? Let's invite ourselves to continue on this direction towards perfect safety and perfect peace, unafraid, moving through the medicine of miracles. Because if we can do it, we can offer the same idea, reverberation, energy for anyone around us. We cannot give what we do not have, but we can give what we do have. So, may we discover love. With eyes closed, think of all the horrors in the world that cross your mind. Name each one as it occurs to you, and then deny its reality. God did not create it, and so it is not real. God did not create the horrors that we can imagine, and they are not real. Say, for example, if you'd like to close your eyes, please, I'll read to you. God did not create that war, and so it is not real. God did not create that airplane crash, and so it is not real. God did not create that disaster, and so it is not real. We can practice specificity here. God did not create that flood, that hurricane, that earthquake, that landslide, that car accident, and so it is not real. Immediately, of course, we can feel the challenge here. These things are resulting in death. Someone knew someone who is no longer there because of the outcome of these items. We are spending trillions around the world to create machines and items and ideas that destroy capital and people. People who create more people and more people who create more ideas with more creativity and more abundance for more people and the earth and the animals and everything else that's on it. This idea of war is a dis-ease, and we market it as defense. That does not mean that I don't feel in my heart that I wouldn't fight to defend what I believe is vital to me. But one message that Christ exudes is forgiveness so far that we may be crucified, whatever that may be like, and to feel immense pain, which is simply the reflection of the pain of the people around us who cannot give up their own control because of some fear or shame or anger or guilt, or what it might mean for the minds of the people that they control. And so with love, we simply say, it's okay, I forgive you. We are never given more than we can handle. I'm alive. I haven't been victim to these horrors. And so it would be simple to feel and easy for someone else to say that anyone practicing this is a hypocrite. They don't know what it's like. But I say again, we're here to picture horror. And if I allow myself to dive as deep as I can into horror, it feels horrible. And even then, I'm only using my imagination. But my imagination can at least reveal that horror feels horrible, even if it's nothing like what it may feel like to be a part of it. And again, no matter what has occurred, we are being stretched to consider that even if it has happened to us or someone that we know, some disaster, this is not God's design. And for us to feel full, we will have to succumb to change from whatever we are harboring that we believe must exist, that we must exact vengeance for, that we must feel pain for. And we are allowed to feel those things as we let go of their hold. And we say, God did not create this horror, and so it is not real. Again, let's be reminded that we're told that these steps, which can be called salvation, We can be saved by working through these steps. Can be quite difficult and even quite painful. Certainly, if you're calling up horrors, the ones that pull at your strings the most, they could have a very deep and painful and traumatic emotional charge. But we know that we've already given all the meaning we have to these, and we do not understand them, and they do not mean anything. And if they do not mean anything, we can relax their charge in the present. And if they are meaningless, they are not real by strict definition. And this is not what God created. This is what we have created. Because if we can relax the meaning of them, then we can understand that we had decided that they had meaning at all. We had assigned them the meaning and the weight that they had, while we told ourselves it was because what has happened to us. But no matter what has happened to us or the people that we love around us, we are still here. That item we believe has happened, and we can either find our own destruction in chasing that anger and hate because of that horror. We would be justified, so we would believe. And love would allow it. Unconditional love would allow it. Unconditional love will allow us to step away from it because that love is without condition. But here we are being reminded, or at least invited, to try on an idea that God did not create that. And by insisting that it exists when it is not real, we are speaking over him. And in his unconditional love, he will wait patiently until we are ready to hear his voice. Suitable subjects for the application of today's idea also include anything you are afraid might happen to you or to anyone about whom you are concerned. In each case, name the disaster quite specifically. Do not use general terms. For example, do not say, God did not create illness, but God did not create cancer or heart attacks or whatever may arouse fear in you. So it's inviting us to say, rather than general illness, to list the illness of whatever we are genuinely fearful of or fearful of someone we love contracting. God did not create. Are we allowed to imagine here? Yes. Today's application may also include anything we are afraid might happen to us or anyone about whom we are concerned. These need not be real items. God did not create the death of my sister. And so it is not real. God did not create cancer in my mother. And so it is not real. God did not create madness in my father. And so it is not real. I think between all of the inundation of true news, we believe, and marketing and propaganda we call news, funded by somebody who wishes us to believe a certain something to increase our fear for some other incentive other than our thriving. With this array, plus our own experiences and all the pain we have felt from the loss or the pain we have created in others, from our misguided decisions because we have not come to know ourselves, or we were afraid to look, or afraid of what was coming. There should be no shortage of horrors that we can reflect upon. But we are reminded we should do this for no longer than 1 minute today. We are not attempting to take some black pill and live in horror. We are attempting to practice this exercise and remind ourselves that even in the infinite horror that we could imagine, God did not create it, and so it is not real. This is your personal repertory of horrors at which you are looking. These things are part of the world you see. Some of them are shared illusions, and others are part of your personal hell. It does not matter. What God did not create can only be in your own mind apart from His. Therefore, it has no meaning. In recognition of this fact, conclude the practice periods by repeating today's idea. God did not create a meaningless world. God did not create a meaningless world. If God created a meaningful world, then His voice and what He's created out of love, the miracle that springs forth into life, the life that we know we have, we are made of love. That is what is meaningful. That is what God has created. And our misguided ideas of love are our own wranglings of control, attempting to produce an outcome that we believe is more valuable than the true voice of God and what He has created, which is a freedom from worry, perfect peace, and perfect safety. Do you feel like you have perfect peace and perfect safety today? If not, you are not in comfort and you do not understand. I am not fully comfortable in perfect peace and perfect safety, but it is an idea I am trying to try on, and I'm willing to believe that it is a worthy goal. And if I can do it, however I've come to think of myself over time, and whatever I've healed from, if I can do it, you can do it. And we know we can do it because we are poisoning our own well, regardless of what we've encountered. And God created life from love. That is what is meaningful. And any projection we can accept is meaningless. God did not create a meaningless world. The idea for today can, of course, be applied to anything that disturbs you during the day, aside from the practice periods. Be very specific in applying it. Say, God did not create a meaningless world. He did not specify the situation which is disturbing to you, and so it is not real. Please just close your eyes for 1 minute, please, and hear this idea. God did not create a meaningless world. He did not create the horror which you see in your mind if you dare look. And so it is not real. The fear you feel, the pain you feel, despite its source, and however much you feel that it must matter more than love, that love can only be found by fighting it, fighting through it, fighting anyone who sees that way. This is not real. You may know love despite everything that you believe has happened for the reason you think it has happened. No one is denying that what has happened to you or what you have done has happened. But that idea is an idea in the past, and the past is not in the present. It doesn't mean that we need to feel that it's okay that people hurt each other or that we should move in that way. But it does mean that if we are focusing there, we are not focusing somewhere else. And that would mean that we are not focusing on love, we are focusing on pain. And the miracle, or its source, or where it ends up, or where we end up, is an attempt to recognize peace, perfect safety, freedom from worry. And if we cannot imagine this for ourselves, we can imagine that we want it for someone else whom we love. We know what love is to some capacity. We either know someone that we love, or we can admit we love ourselves. We're trying that idea on, or we wish we knew what love was. So whether we know it well, we believe, or whether it is a void, the principle of love says that it flows from someone who temporarily has more to someone who temporarily has less. Let's allow this to be a process. And let's allow us to accept that perhaps all of the weight we assign to certain things from a broad enough perspective is meaningless. And if God exists, if he is all knowing, his perspective would be the widest, and he would have the greatest opportunity across an infinite time horizon, an infinite space, to create true meaning. So, as we relax control, may we step into a new temporal loop, a new idea of beginnings and endings of love and their expressions and the life that springs forth from them. And if we are uncomfortable, may we admit we just do not yet understand. And we're only on day 14. So, for 1 minute, picture your horrors in specificity and say, God did not create that horror, and so it is not real. And in 1 minute, with your eyes closed, finally say, God did not create a meaningless world. I am Kesten Rono, and I am wishing you well on your quest to be curious about abundance, truth, and love. I'll see you tomorrow for day 15 of A Course in Miracles.